Hi, good evening. We're back here for our Monday night update for LEOGlossary. We had a schedule conflict last week, so we weren't able to be here. But Task and I are back. How have you been, Task?
Doing okay. Just plugging along. Got the AMA coming up tomorrow, which is always exciting. Just before I got on, I was reading the post by Leo Finance. I guess XDeFi is working now with LeoDex, so I'll have to go test that out and see what that whole ordeal's about.
Yeah, I created my wallet on with the key store or whatever, so I got that far.
I didn't do that. I just figured I'd wait for XDeFi, and evidently it's working, so I'll play around and see what I can come up with.
So now with this Leodex, we won't have to use anything like Coinbase. Is my understanding correct on that?
Well, you'll have to use Coinbase if you want to tie into fiat. So, if you want to either use dollars to get crypto or move out of crypto into dollars, you have to use Coinbase.
Okay.
But if you want to, let's say, like on Coinbase, if you have some Bitcoin on Coinbase, let's say, and you want to buy Ethereum, you can just swap Bitcoin for Ethereum. But with uh, Leodex, you will be able to just enter through XDeFi or through Leodex. You will be able to enter Bitcoin, have your Bitcoin wallet tied to it, and then have Ethereum come out. So you'll be able to swap Bitcoin for Ethereum through Leodex, and you won't have to go through necessarily using um, Coinbase for that. So basically, Leodex is for crypto to crypto transactions.
Okay, not fiat. I
No,
mean,
you can't do that because that requires a bank. DeFi is not going to be tied to fiat, as far as I can see. Um, and that's why Coinbase, you have full KYC, and you can tie your banking to Coinbase and send money back and forth between your bank and Coinbase dollars. Um, Leodex isn't tied to any bank, so it's kind of like Uniswap. If you know
okay.
Uniswap, or it's like kind of like, well, it's not really like MetaMask because MetaMask is a wallet. Uniswap is about the best example. Uh,
Okay.
Pancake Swap or any of these others. The difference is Leodex is tied to Maya, so it is integrated with whatever tokens Maya offers. It, the tokens are not determined by Leodex. The tokens are determined by Maya, and ultimately, from what we understand, by Thorchain once the integration of Thorchain assets is tied to Maya, which that's up to the Maya team to pull that off. That has nothing to do with Leodex.
Okay. So I'll still be buying my Litecoin to transfer in because I can't, obviously can't buy Hive or whatever with my fiat in Leodex. So I have to go through the same, pretty much the same steps I've been doing when I.
Well, yeah, with your if you're going from dollars, you would take your dollars and buy, let's say, your Litecoin, but you'll be able to send your Litecoin into through Leodex and get Hive. So you'll be able to enter Litecoin, Leodex, or Litecoin in Leodex and Hive on your output, and it'll work it through.
So I don't have to go through Hive Engine. I can just go through Leodex.
Yeah, because part of the swap, I mean, there's about five swapping steps that take place along there because you move the Litecoin, then the Litecoin is flipped for Cacao. Cacao is flipped for Leo on Arbitron. Arbitron is Leo is bridged across to Hive engine Leo, which is then swapped in the diesel pool for swap Hive, which then is bridged across into Hive.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so that's where you have all these different bridges that take place, and that's why the UI is so important, because you would enter Litecoin to Hive, and it shows up after a certain period of time in your Hive wallet. Um, you know, and
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why. And I think on the lines then on Friday we're going to be talking about flywheels, but there's a lot of different flywheels involved, and that's why it's imperative for the community to step up and make sure the Leo cacao on Maya is filled, and also the diesel pool on Hive Engine for Swap Hive and Leo is filled, because the more liquidity that's in there, the deeper the pools, the less the slippage, which then reduces the cost on all these transactions. So, that's the problem, is you don't want to trying to be swapping, let's say, $150 from of Litecoin into Hive, and you get $32 because of all the fees. So that's where liquidity is important, to try to narrow it down as much as we can.
Yeah, because my usual process is buying the Litecoin, then swapping or depositing it to Hive Engine to swap LTC, and then selling the swap LTC for swap Hive.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
then,
and depending on the liquidity, that may be a way to keep doing it. That could be a viable way to do it. I don't know how deep the LTC swap Hive liquidity pool is, but it's, and then you also have slippage going from, once you get the swap Hive, you got to bridge it across if you want, or if you just keep it as swap Hive. Um, or you may not want swap Hive. You may prefer to have Leo. So that's where you may just say, I want my Litecoin into Leo, and stop at Leo. And depending on what you're doing with it, you might bridge the Leo across to Hive Engine, or you may leave it on Arbiton. You know, depending on what you want to do with it. So it's providing a lot of different options.
yeah, because usually what I do, I put the swap Hive for swap, or the swap LTC for swap Hive, and then I buy my tokens in Hive Engine, or I'll pull some out if I want to buy HBD.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're doing, and I don't know what point they're set up at, but you should be able to go ultimately from Litecoin to whatever the ultimate uh, Hive Engine token you want. So if you want to go to um, CTP, you could do that. If you want to go to SPS, you could do that. So it's another bridge that um, can go in a lot of different directions, and also allow you to access Maya and keep stuff in your XDeFi wallet, um, which then will make trading a lot easier.
So lots more options, basically.
Yeah, lots more options, and you could do also, like, do like USDC or USDT. I think those are on Maya, which I don't know going out, but going back into Coinbase, if you send Litecoin into Coinbase, there's a fee, or Ethereum or any of them. If you send USDT in, there's no fee. So saves you on the Coinbase fees. And
Yeah,
they,
I've
they
never
don't charge
used.
you a fee to swap USDT to cash to take it out, for example. Um, if you sell your Litecoin, there's a fee on that. So, these are some of the things that it provides a lot more flexibility.
Yeah, seems like it. Wow. Yeah, I never work with more than 20, right around $20 a week. I've been doing my dollar cost averaging.
Yeah, and that that's a good way to do it. But the point being is there's a number of other areas we can direct Leo to now,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to before just basically powering it up and using it to curate. Now there's a couple more. I mean, there was always the Leo swap hive diesel pool, but there was really very little point to it. But now there's a much more important point, especially since we were told last Tuesday SPS and DEC are going to be added uh, to Leo decks, which that brings in all the Splinterlands people.
Wow. Yeah, I focus on a few coins, a few tokens a week, and just like $20 a week. And that's up from what I started with like 15 a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's that's how you build over time, and people seem to think it's a get rich quick scheme and quick hits, and it's anything but.
Right. Not even close.
No, it's not. And when you look at some of the accounts, like you look at my accounts, it's like, well, I've been August will be 7 years on Hive, so
Wow.
it's taken a long time and a lot of hours on it, um, and
But you're
consistency.
lucky, right? You're so lucky. I mean, to be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm lucky because I spend you know 55 hours a week on Hive. I mean, it's all luck. Um, I mean, it's like these people who rake in some good money with their YouTube videos, and they have 50, 60, 70, 80, 100,000 followers or subscribers, and they make whatever they make off each video. Well, they put in a lot of time and spend a lot of years building that following. And people come to Hive and they think, well, everybody should just upvote me. Well, why? My stuff's good. So what?
Define good and good
Yeah,
for whom.
and great. Print it out and submit it to the local community college in a class. We don't care. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff. There's a ton of good videos on YouTube that get very few views, and it's good stuff, but nobody follows them. Nobody knows them. If a tree falls in the wood and doesn't make a sound, did it fall? I mean, you know, nobody knows your stuff's there. It doesn't matter how good it is.
It takes a lot on YouTube to get
Yeah, well,
anything.
that's true. I mean, that's the other asinine part of it is you see these people and they're all trying to make their and I'm not talking the typical Web 2 people. I'm talking people on Hive, and they're trying to establish YouTube accounts. It's like, what do you know how much it takes to get there? You know, it's like put that same effort into three speak. You get a lot further along. But
So what else have you been working on Leo Glossary?
well, Leo Glossary, I haven't done much this past week because I've had other things that I had to tend to. So I've basically just been trying to keep up with stuff on Leo, on Threads, and then my usual production stuff. My articles and my videos, and um, to me, leaving Leo Glossary aside for a bit here, just focusing on Threads as an example. of this flywheel effect. The flywheel effects don't need to necessarily be related to money. In fact, Friday I'll talk about the Tesla full self driving mileage flywheel effect. And what everybody wants to default to is we need more users. And yeah, more users. It's like, well, yeah, Tesla needs to sell more cars. Yeah, but that's not the key to them getting more miles driven on full self driving. And there's a list of things that I'm going to go through that they're doing that sent the data skyrocketing. And it's like the same thing on Leo. It's like, what can we do to encourage interactions? And this is where the community falls short. And I'm not surprised because most people, if you read any Nietzsche, which can be difficult reading, and a lot of people misunderstand Nietzsche, uh, but he talks about the master slave mindset. And most people have the slave mindset. And they just can't break that. So to expect that on Leo is not the case. There's only a handful of people who have the capability to step above and step out from the masses. And a lot of that has to do with simply the willingness to put in the effort. I mean, that's where a lot of it comes from. It's not necessarily being smarter than anybody else. It's not necessarily being more gifted than anybody else. It, in large part, is due to just putting forth the effort, showing up, being consistent, you know, to do the things that others are unwilling to do, which is usually show up, put forth the effort, and be consistent. And when I look at threads, it's like I put out a thread today and I basically said, what should go on threads? And the TLDR is anything you can think of. That's basically safe for work, you know, non-safe for work, since we can't hide it, or, you know, it's out in the open. That's probably not a great thing to get into at this time, but anything that's safe for work. So, I mean, News on Leo should have 300 articles, 300 threads a day at a minimum. Why? There's not more than 300 articles. I mean, there's 300 articles a day just in cryptocurrency, just in blockchain crypto.
Wow.
About sports, there's got to be 300 of articles a day with all the different sports sites. You know, you go into all your major networks, you go into your major publications, you go into Sky News, you go into BBC, you go into Bloomberg, you go into New York Times, Los Angeles Times, Wall Street Journal, you know, the Beijing News, or whatever the hell they have in Beijing. I mean, it's all over the place. So that's just simple stuff. Then you can go and do stuff with video. I mean, ABC News, CNN, CNBC, Bloomberg, they all have clips of their stuff on YouTube. So you can go and take a clip. Hell, I think ABC, like their, what do they call it? Their nightly news broadcast, they put the whole damn episode up. You know, it's
Wow.
So these are things. Streaming. What stuff is streaming that you can put on threads? How about streaming on Leo, where we get that tag going and people start putting up streams? You know, ABC News has a stream. I don't know how often they reset it. I guess it's daily, but they have a stream on YouTube. I'm sure NBC and CBS and Fox and hell, maybe CNBC for all I know. I don't know. I bet there's a ton of them. Put it up there. This is the stuff that people need to get into the mindset with, because this is what creates interaction. This is the whole idea behind Music on Leo. This is the whole idea behind polls. I started taking YouTube videos that I watch, and I'd copy the title of the YouTube video onto Threads. Then I tag it, whatever it is, video, news on Leo, if it's a news related thing, or technology, AI, whatever. And then I create a poll. Rate this video 531. Then I'd put up the thread, then I'd edit the thread, and I'd embed the code for the YouTube video. So now you got a YouTube video that, some YouTuber put up on, let's say, AI. Boom, there it is. And it's got a poll, rate this video. I also started doing something today, just playing around with movie clips. Like, what was it? What the hell was it, DiCaprio? Catch Me If You Can, I think.
Oh,
Is that it? Catch Me If You Can? I think that was the name of the film. Where it was based on the con artist,
oh yeah.
or whatever his name is. So anyway, I found one of those clips, and I'm like watching the clip, and I'm like, okay. So I take this and again, I took whatever the title was, put it up there. I just copy paste that up there. Then I put movies on Leo and polls, and then I did the poll. I said, rate this movie 531, and didn't see it. And I said, rate the movie, rate the film, not the clip, the film, because obviously people either saw the film or they didn't see the film. And then again, I did the same thing. I put the thread in, and I edited the thread, and I embedded the YouTube code, the video, which was just a movie clip, wasn't the full movie. But again, that's something simple. Do you know how many thousands of YouTube clips are out there just like that? There's tens of thousands of films. I guarantee you there's clips of them for most of them, at least most of them in the last 30 years. There's clips
Right.
on YouTube for that. And again, when we start to talk about stickiness, I mean, that movie, Catch Me If You Can, is probably near 20 years old anyway.
Yeah, it's
Years old anyway. So who gives a shit if somebody's seeing it, the poll today, or seeing it 6 years from now? The damn thing's 20 years old to begin with. So these are some of the things that people need to get through their head, that get creative. You started doing it with different actors and actresses and what their best role is. I mean, unfortunately, I don't know half of what you post up there, but anyway, I mean, that was just a simple idea, and it's like, okay, you know, of well, say Tom Hanks, which was Tom Hanks' best character, and you have 4 listed. And it's like, you can vote on that today, you can vote on it in 10 years. Somebody may disagree and say, well, this isn't the one I like isn't on there. Well, shut the hell up. It's not your choice. These are the 4. Vote on them.
well, I put one up with Sigourney Weaver, and of course I put Ripley from Aliens, and John goes like, "Is this even a question?"
Yeah, well, he kind of likes Alien.
I'm like, "That's right, you're an Aliens fan."
But these are little things that the community. It's easy to sit there and say we need this, we need that. The bottom line is the reason why it's failing is because of you. Plain and simple. It's because of the person looking back in the mirror. And each and every individual as Leo is responsible. And everybody wants to look at Cal and look at the Leo team and say, do this, we need more, we need this, we need marketing. Bullshit. You need people doing crap. And you need stuff for people to interact with. Does the site need work? Yes, I'll be the first to admit that. Will it get addressed? I hope so. I mean, I hope they figure out their shit. But these are simple things that can be done to add more stuff to the platform. I started doing which isn't unique, this day in history. And, I typed that into the search engine, and I found a site. I just clicked on the first result, clicked
Mm-hmm.
on that. And of course, each day they have 4, 5, 6 things listed and the date that they happened on, October, April 29th. So I copy and paste them in. Big deal. Nothing major.
And Jimmy Adamus is giving us a vocabulary lesson every day.
Yeah, he does the word of the day or whatever he calls it on there. And that's cool too. But here's another thing. How about embedding 3Speak videos? You don't see anybody doing that. I've started doing it. I haven't been doing that either. But why don't we embed 3Speak videos? They embed the same as YouTube. The problem is the quality of 3Speak videos tends to suck. Um, my stuff's a prime example. I just hit play, record. I just hit record and speak. So, I'm not creating very fancy productions either. But there is still some pertinent stuff up there. There's people who play their music. There's people who do different things, and that's cool. Why not take that and stick that on Threads? Not spamming, not trying just to get everybody to see my stuff. Grab somebody's playing the guitar, play it, put it up there, and if you want, attach a poll to it. Rate this video. These are the little things, and this is the whole idea of the flywheel. The flywheel is not, oh, we got this magical breakthrough moment. It's like, no, we don't have any breakthrough moments, or the breakthrough moments come to get where we want to be. It takes 150,000 breakthrough moments because it's just a continual process of a lot of work and a lot of things leveraging onto and build on top of themselves. And you and I have discussed this. Every single poll that goes up, that's like your Sigourney Weaver poll. That's timeless. So that is already in the database. Whenever that is seen in the future, however that is seen, it is there. You put it up once, it's done. It adds to the potential interaction on Threads. Now, the problem is it's probably buried, and so far you'll never see it again. But hopefully with better search and some other things that maybe they'll do, especially with the recommend engine, maybe if somebody does a search for Sigourney Weaver and they get to a thread about her, then the recommend is your poll, just as an example. But as I've said for months now, what if we had 1 million polls in Leo's database? 1 million polls. That's a lot of freaking polls.
Yeah.
I'm not talking, will Bitcoin go to 67,000 or 65,000 first?
Nobody cares about that in like 15 or 20 minutes.
Nobody gives a shit. It's stupid. It's a dumbass waste of fucking time, and it shows people are not thinking. It's like, get creative. Think about stuff that you have to do the work once, and it can enhance the value of the database by creating interactions for years. Do you like the Yankees or the Red Sox? If you're one of those two teams, you'll vote for years. Alabama or Auburn for years.
Oh, another quick one I do. It was because Julianne Moore and Jodie Foster both played Clarice Starling in two different. One was Silence of the Lambs and the other one was Hannibal. So I just said, who was the better Clarice Starling, Julianne Moore or Jodie Foster?
Yeah, it's bingo. Travel on Leo, they're putting up all these about these cities. Rate this city, rate Rome, I think he's using candles or something like that. 3, 2, 1, or maybe he's using 5, 3, 1 scenario. I don't know. Or never bend.
Yeah.
I mean that's ideal. You can do that. That you can engage with that thread for decades. People can engage with that thread, and it's created once. So the more of that stuff that we flood into the database, and what you were saying there, anything that's duplicate. I mean, we talked a few weeks back, like Pretty Woman. Yeah, Roy Orbison made it. You had Van Halen did a version, and somebody else did a version. I'm sure there were a lot more. But what if you just took like three people? You say, which version of Pretty Woman's the best? Roy Orbison, Van Halen, or there was a
Well,
country singer who did it. But anyway, Faith Hill. I'm just saying if she did it.
yeah, right. Just
I'm making that up. So boom, it's up. Now people can vote. And a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, somebody can look at that and say, well, that certainly was the original Orbison. You can do that. Who's the best Superman? Christopher Reeve, Dean Kane, George Reeves, or I don't know who the hell's done Superman lately. But anyway, you can put that up. There's four choices. Who do you like? I mean, Superman or Batman. You can go on and on and on with these things, and you take polls, and you take again how many
Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark.
What's that?
Bruce Wayne or Tony Stark.
Yeah, I mean, really, the proverbial Ginger or Marianne, or Mrs. Howell, I guess, if you like the older women. The what was I saying? Oh, going back to those video clips, movie clips. I mean, how much shit is on YouTube? And again, and maybe I'll just start hammering this. I guess I probably should. The only problem is it fucks up my YouTube feed. But anyway, what happens if we have polls related to 1,000 different movies? And even if it gets duplicated, who cares? So what? So what if I put up Catch Me If You Can? I put up a poll related to a video clip about that. I don't care if 6 months from now somebody puts up the same video clip with a poll,
Well,
or if they
on
put up a different
YouTube,
video clip
there's
with a poll. Who cares?
3 or 4 different people put up a video of one song, of the same song.
Yeah. So it's but we were most of the time type polls. So, but yeah, it's you're going to have duplicates like that, and it's like we've discussed with the music on Leo. You go to YouTube and type in like "Stairway to Heaven." How many versions are you going to see there? 6, 7,
at least.
Yeah. I mean, so it really doesn't matter. It's in many ways you're dealing with quantity. It's quantity and search, because quantity is database filling, and unfortunately the search is pretty shitty, and that's what needs to be rectified. But if we can get the data in there and tie it to these tags, then you're looking at, again, I mean, what if there's 5 or 10,000 movie clips, clips from movies themselves with polls? What if there's, I mean, what's stopping anybody from embedding 10 YouTube videos a day in there? I mean, it's not that hard. It doesn't take long. It's copy and paste. The biggest pain in the ass is hitting threads, then going back and editing it and waiting the time for the damn thing to catch up. Because, when you edit it and you put the embed code, I mean, or you could do that and it just goes into your profile feed and it doesn't show up on the main page. But how long does it take? It takes seconds.
Usually I just go ahead, when I'm doing anything with a video, I just put it right up anyway. And sometimes it lands on the the feed, and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's just in my.
and let's be honest. If you're just putting up a video, um, and especially if you're not attaching a poll, okay. I mean, you put up a video with the title. Do you really care if anybody sees it? Maybe not. I mean, you want it there, but maybe it's more so. Okay, I'm building the database, and I have the tags. If somebody searches on the tags, or if somebody searches for, uh, you know, I don't know, whatever the video is about, New York Yankees. Um, there's a video about the New York Yankees, or Hitler, or the War of 1812. There's another thing, history. I mean, shit, documentaries. How many documentaries are on YouTube? I mean, all of this stuff could be put in there. And I'm a firm believer. Yeah, we want shorts. We need uploading video capability on Leo, just like Three Speak, and build that in. But video is so important. We need to get hundreds of thousands of hours of video on Leo. And right now the only thing you can really do is embed stuff. So okay, but get it on there. Not that hard to find. YouTube has millions upon millions and maybe billions of hours of video. Entitled to it. Now, what do you think of Hitler? He was a nice guy, or he was a meanie? Vote. I mean, it's Stalin or Hitler. Who do you prefer? Jason or Michael Myers? I mean, or Freddy Krueger, um, or whoever the fucker was from the Chainsaw Massacre, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, you can do these comparison things all day, every day. Which Baldwin brother do you like? Billy, Alec, or the other one, the religious nut? Anyway, whatever his name was.
There's a Daniel. Anyway.
Oh, Daniel. I was thinking of the younger one, the youngest one.
Oh.
He's a religious nut. He was in Biodome. Um, Stephen Baldwin.
Oh.
But anyway, again, it's just, you get me going on this show, and it's like the ideas just flow. It's like, how hard is it to put up 50 things like that a day? Doesn't take long, and it doesn't take much thinking, and doesn't take much effort. And imagine that done by 25 people over the course of 3 months, and the amount of stuff that you would have.
That'd be a lot of stuff.
It would be. And I'll grant you it's tough to find stuff still, and we need the recommend engine, but you got to get it in there for it to recommend. So,
yeah, what is it going to recommend if we're not putting stuff
well,
in
the
there?
problem is what people do is the typical bullshit is, well, they announce the recommend engines there, so let's get stuff in there. It's like, no, start filling it now. The recommend engine may show up in a month. It may show up in a year. I don't know. I know it's on Cal's list. But in the meantime, let's put as much stuff in there as we possibly can.
And then you and I are only two people, so.
Well, I mean, Mike possibly does some things. Adam Barrett does some things. Bradley Arrow, to his credit, he does stuff.
He does his memes and.
Yeah, he does memes and a few other things. There's a few people who do stuff.
Yeah, there's a few people who are constant.
There's people who do news on Leo. I mean, it's just like you said, Jimmy Adamas. He only does 1 or 2 words a day, but he's consistent 1 or 2 words a day. So, that helps. People put up their photography. Well, to me, if you're putting up a picture that you've taken, you ought to be attaching a pole to it. But I mean, it's the idea should be that everybody is should be flooding threads with as much stuff as they conceivably can think of. I mean, and photos are great because photos last, memes last. I mean, all that stuff has staying power. And so Bradley, for every time he puts up a meme, hopefully his meme on Leo, the tag will start to correlate them together, and they can start to be found by the recommend engine when we get it.
Yeah, I noticed you still can't put, like, if you're gonna do a container, you still can't put the poles in the threads you put under the container. Like, they
No,
don't.
you can't drop it. That's what I was saying before. I said with the rethreads, but it's the same thing. You can't put poles at the second layer. You can't rethread them and have them show up. And that to me is what needs to be addressed. But again, in due time, I guess. Yeah, but again, these aren't excuses. It's like, so what? Work around it.
Mhm.
I mean that's what I was saying before, the slave versus master mentality. The slave mentality is they let every excuse in the book get in the way. The master mentality, according to Nishi, is uh, fuck it, get it done anyway. Do what you need to do, prevail, overcome, get busy. You know, stop being a wimp, and figure out a way. And with Leo, there's a ton of stuff to do. I mean, if 20 people started to do what we just said with movie clips for the next 3 months, what would that look like after 3 months? I mean, it's just same thing with Bradley. If he keeps doing his memes on Leo for a year and a half, he's going to have quite a collection there.
Yeah.
And other people should be following. But see, the problem is very few people do anything. It's like, and that's why the community has nobody to blame but themselves.
And what you said this a while back, but if Cal saw that people were doing this stuff and there's a lot of it, he might have more inclination or inducement to like get the recommend engine going or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's he might then start to push for different development in the UI to try to highlight or to make use of this. But again, if nothing's happening, nothing's happening. And if people aren't doing shit, people aren't doing shit. Or if people do shit for a day or 2 days and they quit, well, that doesn't do any good either. And we see
Right.
a lot of that too. It's like somebody will start something. I mean, it's like these jackasses. Oh, I'm back. I've been away a while. Well, why? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
right.
okay. Everybody has certain at times life issues, but it's like, oh well, I just wasn't ready. I didn't feel good. I was depressed. Well, throw yourself off a bridge and see how you'll feel then. I mean, it's like, get the fuck out of here. And you want my future success to be contingent upon you not showing up because you have a headache, or you just, oh well, I didn't feel like threading anymore. And you want me to take you seriously? Get the hell out of here. And that's really what it comes down to. The fact is most people are slugs. and they want something different, but you give them an opportunity and they still behave the same way.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's like the old parable about the frog in the boiling water, right? And you just keep notching the temperature up a little bit, and they don't even notice they're being fried, being boiled alive. And it's like
Kind of like what's going on now. They keep raising the prices a little by little by little, and people are just like, you get used to. It's like you get used to it, so you don't even notice it.
mm, yeah, there's no secret to any of this. It's incremental stuff, just like we're talking about on Leo. Everybody's looking for the magic wand. There's no magic wand. It's incremental shit. Leo's solution is in 10 million threads. There's Leo's solution. 10 million threads. How do
And
you get
yet,
10 million threads? One thread at a time. And a lot of people making threads and making a lot of threads since there's not a lot of people. Compensate for it.
it's consistency over months and years, and
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, how does Stephen King write a book? Do you think he sits down and writes 45,000 words? No. He does it 500 words at a time, or 250 words at a time, or 1,000 words at a time, or whatever the hell he writes. He doesn't go and sit down one day and say, okay, I'm going to get up, other than going to the bathroom and eating, I'm going to stay right here till I got 50,000 words on the page. It doesn't work like that. No. It's like every day he writes 500, 1,000, 1,500 words, whatever it is. And after a certain period of time, he has a book. Then he starts editing it and doing what he does. And eventually he has something that's publishable. But I mean, it's it all comes back to what are you willing to do? And I think the reality is most people talk a good game, but they're completely and totally full of crap. And you see it with their actions
or lack thereof.
or lack there. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's you tell me you want a better life, you tell me you want something, but you're not doing shit. You're sitting hanging out on X. Well, I'm promoting Hive. You're an asshole. You really are.
They don't care.
They don't give a shit. And you after 6 fucking years, you're totally and completely ineffective. It's failed. But we need marketing. No, we need activity.
What are you marketing?
Yeah. What the fuck you marketing? There's no services on Hive. There's nothing here. Other than blogging for money, which is a failed marketing scheme. What the hell are you marketing? Same thing with Leo. What the fuck are you marketing? Now with Leo decks, maybe there's something to market, but we go market threads. Why? Why? Who's going to use threads if they're on Twitter? Half the time, threads is dead because you assholes aren't filling it up because you're all over on Twitter. I mean,
Oh,
so this is why I don't know. I mean, I'm very optimistic about the future, but the future of Web3 is going to have to come from uh, it's not going to come from the masses. The masses are going to still be slaves. They are going to still end up with nothing because they just simply, you're going to have to get people who truly understand the digital platform business model, who understand this type of stuff, and are willing to make it happen. And depending on people who have stake, they're not going to get it done. I mean that's my perception of the masses.
They're waiting for something, but what they're waiting for,
They're waiting for a handout, is what they're waiting for. They're waiting to be given shit. That's what it is. I'm not going to do crap till I get something. Fine, stay poor, starve to death. I really don't give a shit, honestly. I mean, it's like, do you think you really mean that much to me? No, you don't. I don't know you. I mean, it's there's somebody I've seen once or twice on online on Hive. I don't even remember your username. And you think you're important? No, you're not. I could give a crap. And that's the way most people are. Django and I used to talk about this. I mean, Django's a prime example. Out of sight, out of mind. Where the fuck's Django? I mean, it's he was around all the time. Now he's not around. Doesn't matter how long you were around. Doesn't matter what impact you made. You're out of sight. You're out of mind. And he is not a priority in anybody's life other than his own and his family. That's it. The rest of us, we have our own priorities. And it ain't Django. Just like I'm not a priority in anybody else's life. That's the reality of the situation. So, what are you doing? And again, I'm not talking you as in
right,
you
right.
specific, but it's you, the general. And it's like they're just sitting around waiting for somebody to save them. And it's like,
You gotta save you.
well, and then they complain. And it's like, well, this is so unfair. Well, of course it's unfair because you jackasses don't do anything. So those who do something can rob you blind, can bilk you. They know more and they're ruthless and they're willing to show up and they get things done and they don't include you. And that's by design. And you complain, but you don't do shit. That's simple. People bitch all the time about Ethereum. And I don't know what Vitalik does, but he's not sitting around with his thumb up his butt, I don't imagine. He's
No, I don't.
probably pretty busy. And, oh, well, he's got all that money. Well, yeah. Well, he had a pre-mine. Well, yeah. But him and his co-founders also started the damn thing. And they started a thing that's worth, I don't know, I haven't looked at the market cap of Ethereum, but whatever it is, 300 billion, 400 billion, whatever the hell it is. How many people have done that? What have you done? Nobody upvotes my posts. I'm not doing this anymore.
We'll keep posting.
Yeah, get run over by a bus. Either keep posting or jump in front of a bus. One of the two. The choice is yours. I mean, again, I see these dipshits on threads talking about, oh, I'm trying to get to my 4,000 hours of YouTube views. Why? And, congratulations for putting in effort, but why don't you quit at 500 or 200 or 100? Because 4,000 is a lot of work. But see, they're not handed shit on YouTube, and they don't expect to get handed shit on YouTube because YouTube ain't going to give you squat. Even if they're paying you and they're writing you a nice, healthy check, you can guarantee they made a hell of a lot more money off your videos than you did. That's guaranteed. Okay. For Mr. Beast and those who are raking it in on YouTube, they don't care. And I'm sure the people making, a few $1,000 a month there, they don't care. But the most of the people who are posting on YouTube, you ain't making jack shit. And you will never make jack shit. If I went and started posting on YouTube, I wouldn't make jack shit. I'd never get 1,000. I mean, I shouldn't say never, but maybe I would.
A long time.
It would take a hell of a long time for me to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and get 4,000 hours of view. And then even if you get that, you got to apply. And if you get approved, how much are you really making? $20. I don't know. I have no clue.
I have
But
no clue either.
either way, I can guarantee you it's to make any serious money where I was doing it full time. I'd probably never get there. Never get there. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'd never get there because I don't have the videos that I mean, I just don't have the editing capabilities to produce that type of stuff that would get that type of viewership. So, I mean, maybe if I put one of those backgrounds behind me and then just hit play and add, you know, some type of dummy background. I don't know. Maybe that would
Like the
work.
one I got here.
Yeah, like you have. But I don't know. It's again, it's why. And going back to how we started, I mean, why? There's LeoDex. If I need to go in and out of Hive, LeoDex provides that opportunity. And if I want to swap Bitcoin for Litecoin or Bitcoin to Ethereum, I can do that. Not that I have any great need to do it, but so I mean, these are all just this is all stuff that I don't know.
Well, when I read your post about what should go on Leo, I went and put up some. I started putting up a few of the Allstate Mayhem commercials.
There you go. Those are funny. I mean, again, yeah,
He's hilarious.
he is. Those are good stuff. I mean, there you go. Commercials. It's there's thousands of them throughout the years that were, pretty funny and pretty humorous. The classic being from my youth, the "Where's the Beef" for
Oh, the
Wendy.
Wendy's. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was just classic. But I mean, there's just so much between television shows, advertisements, commercials, uh, memes, movies, books, magazines, pictures, images, you name it, drawings, art, painting, sculptures, all this stuff. I mean, you type in anything into your search engine and you go to images, and whatever you type in, you'll get hundreds of images. You know, monuments, presidents, prime minister of Australia. I mean, anything. There's all kinds of stuff.
Whatever you're interested in, just start.
Even if you're not interested, just throw shit up. No matter.
Yeah.
Take something simple, throw a poll to it. Do you like Ford or General Motors better? Do you like Toyota or Honda better? Have you ever ridden a motorcycle? Yes or no? Do you prefer baths or showers? Do you pee standing up or sitting down? Do you pee inside or outside? Do you write right-handed or left-handed? I mean, just simple stuff. Do you prefer reading by a candle or by light? I mean, it's just there's so many possibilities. People fail to see it, and unfortunately, this is what's required for the flywheel. This is what is required for what Cal talks about, and Cal, unfortunately, is kind of limited in what he can do, unless the community steps up. And the community doesn't want to step up.
Until
Well,
they.
because the ownership is decentralized. If you believe the token is representative of the ownership, well, it's distributed. Little different story if he has a bunch of people who are invested in him, invested, and then everybody else is kind of forced to follow suit. And maybe that's the way to push Web3 ahead. push Web 3, but have a Web 2 platform on top and say, fuck everybody. We're going to steal your data. We're going to add features, and we will monetize when we need to monetize, even if it affects your user experience. And that's just the way it is. But you're okay with that because you seem to like the abuse.
That's so silly.
Well, people want different outcomes by doing the same shit. So it's just absurd.
Definition of insanity.
It's just absurd. They want a different outcome, but they do the same thing expecting a different outcome. And they have a path to a different outcome, but they won't take it. So, and this isn't only Leo people, this is all of Hive. Mm-hmm. Hell, you can't find anybody on Hive. They're all over on X. So,
come on, people, post stuff.
Yeah, if there were 10,000 top line threads a day, and then commenting and engagement with those threads, so you're looking at 40, 50,000 a day, you go from 50,000 to 100,000 pretty easy because other people would be jumping in. The place would be hopping. But again, what are people doing?
Shilling on X.
I guess so.
Okay, we're at the just over an hour mark. Another good talk tonight. Thanks for showing up.
Will do.
Have a good night, and we will see you next week.
Ciao.